rain poured relentlessly over the small town, turning the streets into rivers of cold, muddy water. Inside a dimly lit grocery store, Maya stood near the entrance, gently wiping her daughter's wet cheeks. 6-year-old Lila shivered under her thin, faded jacket, her big brown eyes scanning the shelves filled with food they could no longer afford. Maya's heart squeezed painfully. Days had gone by with barely enough food. She had skipped meals so her daughter could eat, but even that wasn't enough anymore. Today, she had walked into the store with only a few coins, barely enough for a loaf of bread. "Stay close to me, baby," she whispered, taking Lila's hand. They made their way to the bakery section, where warm bread filled the air with a comforting smell. Maya picked up the cheapest loaf she could find and slowly approached the counter. Behind it stood Mr. Carson, the store manager, a tall, heavy-set man with a permanent sneer. He spotted Maya and crossed his arms, already annoyed. "Oh, it's you again," he said loudly, making a few customers turn to look. "Back for more charity?" Maya's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. I have money today," she said softly, showing the coins in her palm. Mr. Carson scoffed. "That barely covers half the price. You people always expect handouts." "You people?" The words cut deeper than she expected. Lila tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mommy, and I'm hungry." Maya swallowed hard. "Please. She hasn't eaten since yesterday. Could you maybe let me pay the rest tomorrow? I promise I'll come back." The manager laughed harshly. "Do I look like a charity worker? If you can't afford food, maybe you should try working instead of begging." Several customers glanced over, whispering. Maya felt the world closing in around her. She wanted to disappear, but she also knew she couldn't leave without food for her daughter. "I am working," she said quietly. "I lost my main job last month and I'm doing everything I can." "Well, it's not enough, is it?" he replied cruelly. But what neither Maya nor the manager realized was that someone else was watching. A man dressed in a simple gray coat stood at the far aisle, partially hidden. His eyes were sharp, observant. Jonathan Hale, the CEO who owned the entire grocery chain, had come unannounced for a routine inspection. But now, he wasn't inspecting anymore. He was witnessing, and every word the manager said was burning into his mind. Jonathan stepped forward silently, his expression darkening. This moment would change everything. Maya stepped out of the restaurant, her eyes stinging, her breathing unsteady. She clutched the small hand of her daughter, Lily, who looked up at her with innocent confusion. "Mommy, are we still hungry?" Lily asked softly. Those words shattered Maya's heart more than the manager's insults ever could. She knelt down, wiping Lily's tears, and her own. "No, baby. Mommy will fix everything, I promise." Inside the restaurant, manager Kyle strutted proudly behind the counter, bragging to 2 employees about how he handled another beggar. His cruelty echoed through the kitchen. But what he didn't know was that the man quietly sitting in the corner booth had seen everything. Every word, every smirk, every act of humiliation. That man was Alexander Grant, the CEO, owner of the very restaurant chain Kyle worked for. Alexander reached into his wallet, pulled out a simple card, and stood up with resolve. Something about Maya's trembling voice and fierce love for her daughter had struck him deeply. She wasn't careless. She wasn't begging for luxury. She was begging for food. Food she had tried to pay for with her last coins. As he stepped outside, he saw Maya trying to distract Lily with a small pebble game on the sidewalk. The sight tightened something inside him. He approached gently, not wanting to frighten them. "Ma'am," he said softly. Maya instantly stood up, embarrassed, wiping her face. "I'm sorry if we're blocking the entrance. We were just leaving." "You're not in the way," Alexander replied kindly. "I just wanted to check if you and your daughter are all right." Maya hesitated. Pride battled desperation. She didn't want pity. She didn't want charity. She wanted dignity. "We're fine. We'll manage," she whispered. Alexander crouched to Lily's level. "Hi there. What's your name?" "Lily," she answered shyly. "That's a beautiful name." He smiled. Then he handed her a small paper bag. "This is for you." Maya froze. "We can't accept." "It's already paid for," he said gently, "and it belongs to her." But as Maya looked into his eyes, she realized this wasn't the usual fake sympathy. It was genuine concern, something she hadn't seen in a very long time. Then Alexander handed her a business card. My name is Alexander Grant. I want to talk to you about what happened inside and about an opportunity. Maya blinked in disbelief. Opportunity? Why would a stranger offer her that? She had no idea that everything in her life was about to change. The entire cafe fell silent as Alexander Reed approached. His presence alone carried authority. Polished shoes, crisp suit, and eyes sharp enough to cut through lies. But when he stopped in front of Maria and looked at Lily, something in his expression softened. Maria held her daughter close, unsure if she was in trouble or about to be thrown out again. I apologize if we caused any disturbance, she said nervously. We're leaving. You're not the one who caused a disturbance, Alexander replied, his voice firm but gentle. Please stay. He turned toward the manager with a chilling calmness. Mr. Dalton, he said, would you like to explain why you yelled at a mother and child in front of customers? The manager's jaw twitched. Sir, I didn't mean... She was trying to trade some old necklace for food. So you mocked her? Alexander asked. Well, yes, but, sir, we have policies. Policies, Alexander repeated. Show me the policy that says we humiliate people who are struggling. The manager froze. Sweat glistened on his forehead. Alexander shifted back to Maria. What were you trying to do? He asked softly. Maria hesitated. Pride wrestled with necessity. But when Lily hugged her leg tighter, she finally spoke. My daughter hasn't eaten since yesterday, she admitted in a trembling voice. I lost my job and we have nothing left. This locket was the last valuable thing I owned. I thought maybe I could trade it for something warm for her. She held out the delicate silver locket, tarnished but beautiful. Alexander didn't take it. Instead, he crouched in front of Lily. Hi, he said gently, what's your name? Lily, the little girl whispered. He smiled. Lily, are you hungry? She nodded timidly. He stood and looked at the staff. Prepare the warmest meal we have for them, everything on the house. Gasps whispered across the room. Maria's eyes widened. Sir, I can't accept charity. This isn't charity, Alexander said. This is correcting the mistake of someone who forgot how to treat another human being. The manager flinched. Then Alexander added, and when you finish eating, Maria, I want to talk to you. I think I might have a job for you. Maria's breath caught. Lily looked up at her, smiling for the first time all day. And for the first time in months, hope bloomed.